Hey guys, Tom from 8-Bit Gaming here, and I'm here today to bring you a review of all of the Amiibo figures that I've managed to acquire so far. The Amiibo are, of course, Nintendo's new NFC range of figures of some of their most popular and some of their most obscure characters from a bunch of series of games. And just like in America and Europe, these are impossible to find. So I do not have every Amiibo by a long stretch. I've got about 10, but I do have one from each different wave we've had here in the UK so far. So yeah, I don't have every Amiibo, but I've got a decent selection of the Smash Brothers ones. I've got the squid from Splatoon coming as well when the game comes out. But yeah, for now I thought I'd just show you and give a quick review of each figure that I've got so far. Tell you which one was my favourite and which ones I like least and stuff like that. And what I thought of the overall paint jobs and designs and stuff like that. So, since these are the Smash Brothers Amiibo, they are of course based off their official Smash Brothers designs, which is why some of them are a tad extravagant for a figure, but yeah, we'll start with the first Amiibo in Wave 1, just the first Amiibo overall, and it has to be Mario. Of course it has to be Mario, Nintendo's mascot. And he looks awesome. I mean, he looks super ferocious, especially for Mario, but his overall stance is great. He doesn't need any of those crappy plastic stands to hold him up. As you can see there, he's got nice texture design on his dungarees. That's a nice bit of additional effort gone into it there. I absolutely love the fireball though. That's such a great look. It's really great. It's quite sturdy as well actually. I mean, it does move around a little bit, but it is quite sturdy. His actual face looks really good. Some of the faces present a bit of an issue for these Amiibo, but Mario looks on the whole great actually. There's really nice attention to detail as well. Like, you can't quite see it, but yeah, you can't quite see it, but his stomach is painted a little bit lighter to, you know, show the reflection of the fireball. Overall, Mario is just a really good Amiibo and a really good way to start off the chain. He's a sturdy, solid figure, a pretty substantial figure. He's not too heavy, but he's overall a good size and just looks really great, actually. Now, I don't have all the numbers, but I'm pretty certain Yoshi is part of Wave 1. And out of all of the Amiibo I've got, he's probably one of my least favourites, to be honest with you. He's just not that interesting to look at. His block colours make for a relatively decent paint job, although as you can see on his tail there are some issues with the white meeting the green. It didn't go quite so smoothly. But overall, the actual sculpt is really nice. The pose is okay, very Yoshi, but, you know, not that interesting. Like I said, because he's just block colours, there aren't that many details to him either. So, on the whole, Yoshi's kind of boring. You can't fault what's there, because, you know, you're getting what you're seeing. Yoshi is a decent job. Good paint job for the most part. Unfortunately with Yoshi there are some annoying join lines, like on his nose there and where his head is there and like his arms and his legs. The join lines are quite obvious and it's a little bit annoying, but for the most part, you know, Yoshi's a decent enough figure. Again, like Mario, he's not particularly weighty, but again, like Mario, he doesn't need the stupid stands, so that's always a plus. I think, you know, if you want a decent looking figure that's not perhaps too extravagant, you're not really going to show off with Yoshi, but he's a sign of what makes a decent Amiibo, and that's a good thing. But out of all of mine, he's probably one of my least favourites. Again from Wave 1 is Fox McCloud, leader of the Star Fox mercenary gang, and he looks awesome, actually, despite the need for these coloured stands, because, you know, he's a bit flimsy looking, he's not overly substantial and sturdy, but the actual design is awesome. It's a pretty action pose, and, you know, his fur looks really great. His tail looks fantastic. I'm not going to bring him too close to the camera because it doesn't like focusing on Fox for some reason. But he's got a really decent looking tail. The fur texture is awesome. I was really impressed with the handgun and the holster. The little details on that are really nice. Especially considering I think Captain Falcon's holster looks atrociously bad. Fox's shoes look great. The little grooves on his shoes look awesome. Basically, Fox is full of these tiny little details that just look fantastic. His reflector looks great. I'm not entirely sure why his scouter isn't see-through, but, you know, I'm not going to complain too much about that. On the whole, Fox looks pretty amazing, actually, despite the need for these stands. The stands take away from him a bit, but you can't really fault the actual detail that's gone into this Amiibo. So yeah, Fox is a great one. The last of my Wave 1 Amiibos is Samus. And Samus looks, I think you can agree, undeniably awesome. They've used a different kind of paint on her, which makes her look kind of shiny, as though she's obviously wearing metal, as you can see in the light, and it looks really great. She's obviously got tiny little stands there, but they're nothing too intrusive. But yeah, Samus looks, again, there's a great attention to detail on the suit, and she's actually a very tall amiibo. She's by far the tallest one I've got, and you know, possibly a bit flimsy, and I think you can kind of really tell from there that she's leaning a bit, and that's annoying. Look at that. Look at that. Samus has got a serious lean going on. I don't know if she's meant to be like that or not, but it's really quite annoying, and it's a bit of a detraction, actually. But on the whole, her actual model looks fantastic. There's no denying that. Her paint job is great. All the small details on the suit itself look fantastic. And yeah, Samus overall looks really good. I'm just a little concerned about the lean, but you can see it there. I don't know. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But if anyone else's Samuses are leaning, you know, let me know. But other than that, Samus is great. So, without further ado, moving on to Wave 2. Diddy Kong is the only Wave 2 amiibo I currently have. The rest of them all escape me. But Diddy looks great. I mean, look at Diddy. He's actually a really good model. Really good texture on his hair, on his fur. I love that. I love the little tail, and his clothes look great. Again, a bit like Yoshi in the fact that there's not an awful lot going on in terms of his actual design as a character. You can't really fault the amiibo for that. But, you know, Diddy's not the most exciting character to look at, but they've done a lot with his pose here. He's got an interesting pose, and overall, I think he's a really quite a high-quality model. The paint job is good. His cap's casting a shadow over his face is a bit annoying, but yeah, it's a bit annoying again that they had to use a coloured stand, but again, it feels like slightly less intrusive than Fox's one does, and Link's, who I don't have, because Link just looks awful, but I will get him at some point. But yeah, overall, Diddy looks really good, actually, and he's one of the better Wave 2 ones. Of course, I would absolutely love, like, Little Mac. That would be fantastic, but... and Captain Falcon. But Diddy looks great. I'm really impressed with Diddy. His texture work looks great. And he's a really good amiibo, actually. So, yeah. So, out of all of the waves I have so far, the amiibo that make up Wave 3 are by far my favourites. Bowser is my favourite amiibo. And just look at him. He is pretty much spot on. He's incredibly weighty, incredibly substantial. There's no stupid little stand. Look at the texture work on his scales. That is just a fantastic attention to detail. But then you turn it around and his shell looks amazing. Like, there's so much going on with this amiibo. And if I wanted to show off amiibo, I think Bowser is one of the ones I would use. Because he's really a substantial figure and he looks fantastic. You can't really see it in this light, but there's paint inside his mouth and everything. His flaming hair, you know, it changes tones as you go further back, starts off darker and gets lighter. There is like the bone definition in his hands. Bowser just overall looks brilliant. He's definitely my favourite amiibo so far. He was actually the first one I got as well, but he just looks fantastic. Like, everything about him is perfect. So yeah, great job on Bowser, Nintendo, because he looks brilliant. Yeah, just really awesome work. And Wave 3 off to a great start. Now, I said I didn't have Link. That doesn't mean I don't have Toon Link, because unlike Link, Toon Link looks brilliant. Toon Link is actually my second favourite amiibo, and he just looks so damn good. So damn good. He's very, very close to vying for Bowser for first place. Toon Link has excellent texture work on his tunic, which you can't really see in this light. There you go, it's there a bit. You can see it, he looks great. Because, of course, he's very cartoony, his face isn't too hard to do, and as such, it looks perfect. Again, the little details on his shield look really nice, and you can actually, yeah, you can feel them as well, so, you know, it's not just a slap-on paint job. Again, little details, his hand is actually holding onto his shield, which I really love, that looks great. The little Master Sword looks great, the little sheath. The stand is completely unobtrusive, in my opinion, it's see-through, and Toon Link just looks awesome. He looks really awesome. He's block coloured where it counts, so like his hair looks absolutely phenomenal. So does his hat. Overall, Toon Link is just by far one of the best amiibo. He's one of the most finely crafted, in my opinion, and he's one of the ones that most successfully looks like the actual character in question. I know that sounds a bit silly, but some of them, like, mainly the ones with actual faces, so like Ike, they don't look that faithful, at least facially, to the character. This looks like Toon Link if he was brought out of the game and whacked onto a stand. Awesome, he looks so great. And finally from Wave 3, what is probably yet another of my favourite amiibo is Sonic. Obviously Sonic gets a cheap pass because he is again entirely block coloured, and therefore his paint job is pretty superb. But again, Sonic looks like Sonic. You take him out of the game, you put him on a stand, this is Sonic. I love the little grooves on his shoes. His hands, again, nice attention to detail there. And his face just looks great, again, because he's not too hard, he's quite cartoony. And on the whole, Sonic is just a brilliant looking model. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with Sonic when I took him out of the box. The only thing with Sonic is the stand is a little intrusive. If it had been coloured, it would look awful. You know, that would be like Link levels of just horrificness. But since it's see-through, you know, if you put Sonic on your shelf facing this way, it's barely even noticeable, I think. It's really not that bad. Sonic, as a model, is totally worth it, and you should pick him up, especially if you love Sonic. He looks fantastic. He looks fantastic. And the only... I mean, maybe his arms are a little bit thick, but I actually think it doesn't really matter too much. He looks great. If you're a fan of the third-party characters in Smash, get Sonic. Pac-Man's the hardest to get, and I really want him, but, you know. Sonic on it just looks awesome. And finally, on to Wave 4. Obviously, Wave 4 is relatively new, so these are still really rare. Even Wario, like the most common one, is still very hard to find here in the UK. People like Ness and Robin are going on Amazon for as high as 73 quid, which is insane, and I urge you not to pay those prices. However, you know, looking at Wario, it's another great model. For some reason, his stand isn't totally see-through, but again, it's a non-offender. Great texture work on both his trousers and his jacket. I'm trying to get it to focus, but it really doesn't want to. But great texture work on his jacket and his trousers. I love the little hurry-up sign on the back there. That looks great. There you go. There's the texture. Yeah, he looks fantastic. His gloves are nice, his hat is good. I know a lot of people wanted Wario in his traditional clothes, but when there's this amount of attention to detail put into Wario, I don't think you can really complain too much. Again, he's one of the weightier Amiibo. Not a bad pose, not a bad pose. And like I said, the stands aren't too obtrusive. But Wario as a whole looks great. There's a really nice amount of detail on his face. Look at the size of that chin. Yeah, on the whole, Wario, I feel like Wario's one of the perhaps more colourful Amiibo because he's got three big colours on him, and he's just really detailed as well. I feel there's a lot to Wario's Amiibo. And yeah, he was a great start to my collection for Wave 4. I like how his hat is shiny, unlike the rest of his body. You know, a different type of paint was used, and I like that. That's a nice attention to detail. Shows that it's a hard hat. Yeah, Wario just looks awesome. And now, on to my final Amiibo. Yes, it's one of the most famous Pokemon of all time, Charizard. I know, he is the most common Wave 4 Amiibo alongside Wario, but come on, he looks awesome. Once again, Charizard benefits from being a block color character, so he looks pretty fantastic, actually, in terms of the paint job. There's a slight issue on his chest with the lining, like there was with Yoshi. You can see it there. It's a bit rough. And he actually, in my opinion, suffers from a lot of the same issues that Yoshi does. Look at this jawline thing going on here. Not a fan of that. The same goes for his arms and his legs. There's very obvious connections there. The same with his wings. Those wings are actually very impressive. There's a lot of detail in these wings with the bones here. And they just look awesome. And I love the little fire again. It's like Mario's fireball. That little detail there. Charizard, as you can see, does have a stand, but again, it's very unobtrusive. They've actually done a really good job with Charizard's stand. They could have, like, whacked it underneath his leg or something, but what they've actually done is, as you can see, they've tucked it away behind his leg. You're never going to have Charizard facing that way, so, you know, he looks fine. He actually looks really good. His face is good, and with these Amiibo, I do like some of this detail. Like, they've darkened his skin where he's furrowing his brow a bit, and it just looks really great, you know. Charizard looks totally awesome, but he probably... Like I said, he suffers from a lot of the same issues as Yoshi. He has one advantage over Yoshi, being that he has a far more interesting and dynamic design. The wings look incredible, but he doesn't really hold a similar candle to the likes of Bowser and Toon Link and Wario, in that they're just really, really detailed, with a lot going on. Same goes for Fox, although Fox does suffer on the stand. So Charizard's not... Like, I'm not going to say he's one of my least favourites, because he looks awesome, but he's not as much of a standout, perhaps. If you didn't know Charizard was difficult to get, then you might be like, oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This has been my review of the Amiibo that I've got so far. If I had to pick a favourite, I've got to go with Bowser. He's just a total standout. I mean, even look at him amongst them now. He just looks totally awesome. Toon Link is a very close second place, and Wario is also awesome, but Sonic's up there as well. They are my favourites, definitely. Like I said, Yoshi's a little bit on the boring side, and I'm concerned about Samus's lean. I wish some of them didn't have coloured stands as well, but on the whole, Amiibo on the whole are awesome. They have great production values. They look really great. And they're just an awesome addition if you're a fan of Nintendo or gaming merchandise in general. So that's it from this video, guys. As soon as I get my hands on more Amiibo, I will do another review. Probably when I get my hands on a big size, maybe 5 more Amiibo or something like that, I'll do another video. But let me know in the comments below, guys. Do you have any Amiibo? Who do you have and who's your favourite? Maybe who's even your least favourite? Who are you really hoping to get your hands on? For me, it's Pac-Man the most. I really want Pac-Man, but I also really want Little Max, so, not like I have high expectations or anything. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. Please subscribe to our videos. Really appreciate it. Until next time, guys. See ya.